Hey everybody, Ted Danson here to tell you about my podcast with my longtime friend and sometimes co-host Woody Harrelson. It's called Where Everybody Knows Your Name, and we're back for another season. I'm so excited to be joined this season by friends like John Mulaney, David Spade, Sarah Silverman, Ed Helms, and many more. You don't want to miss it. Listen to Where Everybody Knows Your Name with me, Ted Danson, and Woody Harrelson sometimes, wherever you get your podcasts.
What does possibility mean to you?
That's a hard question.
Something that you can strive for.
That I'm able to do anything I set my mind to.
You're confident in yourself and you believe in yourself. Stuff that you could achieve.
I feel excited. Anything is possible when you're more confident.
Shoes are a huge part of that. They are the most important part of my style.
You can express yourself.
In the right shoes, anything is possible.
DSW, countless shoes at brag-worthy prices. Imagine the possibilities.
Among the highest achievers and industry leaders, the people who have stayed at the top of their fields for decades, something about their answer is always the same. It's a mysterious sense of kismet, of serendipity, of right place, right time, and it always sends shivers up my spine. Hey guys, it's Rach. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. And I have a favor, which sounds kind of harsh if we just met, but I'm assuming that most of you have been a part of this community for a hot minute. And so I gotta ask, are you subscribed to the podcast? Subscribing to the podcast you listen to regularly is one of the best things that you can do for hosts like me. It helps to support the show and the staff that works on it. It ensures that you never miss an episode when we drop a new one. And here's the cool thing about subscribing. If you do it and then you hate this show, just unsubscribe. It's one click away. In the meantime, if you're listening, we would so appreciate it if you would just tap that button and make it official. Hey guys, good morning from London. Good morning for me. I don't know if it's morning for you, but I am sitting in a hotel room in London. It is very early. It is 4:47 a.m. Jet lag is real, and I am recording the intro for today's episode to give you a little insight on what it is and why it is. Originally, we had a full podcast planned for today, and the reality is I'm traveling. I'm not even going to lie to you. It is summer. I am taking my oldest son, Jackson, on a senior trip to Iceland. I'm literally leaving for Iceland today. And before I go, I was like, you know what, Jack? Instead of all the things, let's share something we haven't shared before, which is one of my favorite audio chapters from the last book. Let me explain to you why it is my favorite audio chapter, because I think as a lot of you know, am someone who loves to figure out how to honestly do anything better every part of my life. I want to figure out how to get a little bit better every single day, whether that's in my business or how I'm showing up in my marriage or how I'm showing up as a parent. I'm not always going to knock it out of the park, but I am always trying to figure out how. And one of the best questions I know of to ask myself to figure out how to do anything better in this life is not to list out all the stuff that's going wrong, but to actually home in on what's going right. For years, I've had the opportunity to interview some of the most incredible people here on the show. Teachers and artists and actors and singers and you name it. I've gotten to talk to just about everybody. And over the years, I started to notice that a lot of people, the most successful people that I got to talk to on the show, they all were saying a really similar thing. There were a handful of ideas that even though they showed up in different industries, in different lives, in different ages, they all had kind of done the same thing. They'd followed the same path. And the more I noticed it, the more I thought that that path might be something you and I need to pay attention to. So I wrote this chapter based on the handful of ideas that the most successful, Not the flash in the pan, not the overnight success, but the people who have won Academy Awards and have been on the top of their career for decades and have sold their company for billions of dollars. They were all doing the same things. So that's what this chapter is about. It's about asking, what is working in your life? This chapter is a framework to figure out a path to know what you can pour gasoline on, what you can pay more attention to, and what will actually help you grow in the best of ways. So I hope you dig this audio chapter of What If You Were the Answer? I hope if you love it, you'll consider grabbing it with a token on Audible. And I promise, we will be back on Sunday with our usual regularly scheduled programming. Next week's going to be really good. I recorded an episode that's all about how to fix your morning routine. I think you guys are going to love that. And make sure you're following along on Instagram. I promise to post some really pretty pictures of whatever Iceland has to offer. Have a fantastic day, and I'll be back soon.
What's working? I have been a podcast host for over 7 years, and in that time, I've been able to interview all kinds of interesting people. I've spoken with presidents and chatted with Broadway stars. I've shared coffee talk with Oscar winners and star athletes. I've unpacked childhood trauma with everyone from CEOs to political activists. On the show, we get into any topic and every topic. There's always laughter, sometimes tears, and more than one F-bomb has been dropped in pursuit of passionately driving a point across. I'm pretty proud of the fact that guests tend to open up during these conversations, and we learn something new and fascinating. They'll share a little gossip about an ex or a secret tidbit about a new project. They tell me, and the audience, all kinds of interesting stories, but perhaps my absolute favorite thing someone can tell me is, I've never told anyone this before. I don't just love that moment if it comes from a celebrity. I love that sentence coming from anybody. It's a pretty dramatic line, the kind of thing you hear at summer camp when you're 12. If you're going to tell somebody something you've never told anyone before, it's got to be juicy, doesn't it? We lean in a little closer because this conversation just got real. As a die-hard fan of podcasts, I find this type of episode the most exciting. A sexy rock star turns out to be extremely shy and awkward in real life? Delicious. The infamous world leader takes a hard left tangent away from nuclear disarmament to talk about how his mom used to bake him scones? Here for it. It's the best. But it really only happens when you're both truly following your curiosity and you're both in the moment. So, in order to keep it authentic and spontaneous, I don't prepare any questions in advance. I usually start with, "How are you?" And then we meander away from there. But there is one question I end up asking almost every guest. It's the thing I'm most interested in knowing myself. How did you get here? I love this question. The answer is always varied and different and unique. Everyone has a journey, and the retelling of that story is augmented in every way by the person who recounts it. Mick Jagger will have a very different retelling of the Rolling Stones' journey than Keith Richards will. The Rolling Stones' manager or their longtime partners or children, they'll have entirely distinct perspectives on the same shared lifetime. The stories people share are always different, yes, but I've begun to notice a similarity. Among the highest achievers and industry leaders, the people who have stayed at the top of their fields for decades, something about their answer is always the same. It's a mysterious sense of kismet, of serendipity, of right place, right time, and it always sends shivers up my spine. The first time I heard someone tell me a story like that, I was surprised. The man I was speaking with is one of the most successful actors of all time, but his first big break into Hollywood was almost a happy accident. He was in the exact right place at the exact right time, and he got cast in the role that changed his career by simply acting like, well, himself. The second time someone told me this type of story, it was so similar that I got chills. Again and again, I heard story after story with the same patterns. The wildly successful startup founder who sold her company for $1 billion, she was an intern at a massive corporation. She got randomly assigned to an executive who, unbeknownst to anybody at the time, was about to leave to start their own company. That executive hired his intern to be his new assistant. Later, the assistant would work her way up. Eventually, they'd become business partners in a venture that would change both their lives forever. Sure, that woman worked her butt off. In fact, that's something that also rings true for every successful person I've talked with, no matter what industry they're in. But that kid just so happened to get placed as an intern with a man who had funding already in place to start his own business. That same VC firm would later support their joint startup. She jumped a line some people never get to the front of, no matter how hard they work, how smart they might be, or how deserving they are. Then there was the comedian, who stayed open and excited. He said yes to everything. This little gig led to that one with slightly more people in the audience. That little comedy club connected him with another, where he'd meet the manager who would help him get to the next level. He spent 15 years on the road doing comedy clubs before the public ever knew his name. Now, he sells out stadiums.
Some say Odoo Business Management software is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. Some say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk, scaling with you while being magically affordable. And some say Odoo's programs for manufacturing, accounting, and more are like building blocks for creating a custom software suite. But I say Odoo is all of it. Fertilizer magic beanstalk building blocks for business. Yeah, Odoo. Exactly what every business needs. Sign up at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Rob Lowe here. If you haven't heard, I have a podcast that's called Literally with Rob Lowe. And basically, it's conversations I've had that really make you feel like you're pulling up a chair at an intimate dinner between myself and people that I admire, like Aaron Sorkin or Tiffany Haddish, Demi Moore, Chris Pratt, Michael J. Fox. There are new episodes out every Thursday. So subscribe, please, and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
I've heard versions of this story so many times now, I swear I can feel them coming before the guest even gets to the punchline. My antenna go up and my whole being pays attention. My intuition taps me on the shoulder. Rach, this is something important. When I think of all these conversations, it really does seem like they're all sharing the same recipe for success. And if an equation for progress exists that transcends industries, countries, ages, genders, socioeconomic backgrounds, literally everything, then we should for sure pay attention. So here it is. Number 1, get really, really excited about something you enjoy doing. Number 2, practice the thing you're excited about and fall in love with the process. Number 3, be on the lookout for any opportunity to grow in the thing you're excited about. Number 4, say yes to every opportunity as long as it's related to the thing you're excited about. Number 5, put 0 time limit on achieving success and focus fully on the process of becoming better. Number 6, Say yes to every opportunity that will elevate your new level of skill around the thing you're excited about. Number 7, win, lose, or draw. Every opportunity will lead to bigger opportunities around the thing you're excited about. Number 8, go back to step 1. Repeat forever. Freaking epic. I vibe the hell out of this roadmap because it feels so organic. If you've experienced success in a certain area of your life, I'm sure you can see similarities in your own path. Okay, but here's the thing. It's often unspoken, but it's something I read between the lines and get as answers to all the follow-up questions I ask them in order to better understand. None of them used force. Not one truly successful person I've interviewed forced their success in any way. In fact, most of them would tell you that their biggest career failures or the times their companies came close to bankruptcy were always the result of them trying to make something happen when every indication, intuition, and insight they had told them it wasn't a good fit. Perhaps I find this so astounding because the achiever in me spent so many years believing I could will my way to success. I believed if I would just work harder or put in more hours, I could make an idea into something real. And the thing is, I did. But I have always experienced those opportunities and career successes hand in hand with product launches that flopped like a dying fish. Because these things happened simultaneously, and because I was moving so fast, I never slowed down to ask myself what was working, and when I didn't, why it failed. Looking back, I realized that every major success I've had, y'all, literally every single one, followed that recipe I've listed above. Writing books? I do it because I love it. The success wasn't fast in coming, but I didn't care because I was so pumped that I got to write books that anyone wanted to read. It didn't come easy. Stringing words together is a lonely slog, and it always will be. But easy or hard, I keep at it because I like the process. Hosting a podcast? Same exact thing. I never even looked at my podcast numbers for years. I literally didn't even know how to access them. I just made the content because I liked it. 7 years and over 200 million downloads later, it involved a lot of work, but I never had to force it to be successful. It just was. Public speaking and producing conferences? It was slow and steady, and I was just doing it because I loved it. Then it was a snowball rolling down the hill so fast I had no idea how to control it. All of my career success happened when I flowed with opportunity instead of trying to force it to appear. But if I'm going to tell you about my wins, I have to tell you that there were a lot of failures where I tried to force the funk. I'd expend loads of time and money and, most important, energy and focus on things that would rob me of whole years of effort with nothing to show for it. Meanwhile, my big 3, writing, podcasts, live talks, would just keep rolling along. It was a living definition of the 80-20 principle. It wasn't until I heard other people begin to speak about this that I was able to see these patterns. Then I couldn't help but wonder, what would happen if I only put energy and time and focus into things that naturally flowed for me? What if I started every new project with intention, but paid extreme attention to whether or not it was unfolding without force? I've stopped putting effort into pushing things uphill. Don't get me wrong, it absolutely can be done. You can force your way in and out-hustle everyone and make it happen. I've spoken with a lot of rich people who've done just that. But 100% of the time, those people have an aura of chaos. Their vibration is frenetic and distorted. I've yet to meet a single one, no matter how much money they have, who has a quality of life that inspires me. If your measure of success right now is financial, I totally get it. Money can't buy happiness, but it can pay your rent and your phone bill and take a massive amount of worry off your shoulders. Money can make your life a hell of a lot easier, and I'll never begrudge anyone who tries to improve their financial means because that was my story as well. But for what it's worth, please note that I said I've met a lot of rich people who force their way ahead, but I've never met a wealthy one. Rich isn't permanent, but wealth, true wealth, means you are so financially secure it can't be taken away. So it's worth mentioning that the successful people I've met who learn to go with the flow, they aren't rich. They're wealthy and chill as hell about it too.
Hey, everybody, it's Rob Lowe here. If you haven't heard, I have a podcast that's called Literally with Rob Lowe. And basically, it's conversations I've had that really make you feel like you're pulling up a chair at an intimate dinner between myself and people that I admire, like Aaron Sorkin or Tiffany Haddish, Demi Moore, Chris Pratt, Michael J. Fox. There are new episodes out every Thursday, so subscribe, please, and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Possibility means you have a chance.
Passion opens the door to all possibilities.
When I feel like anything's possible, I feel kind of giddy.
I want to be an astronaut, an artist, an actress.
To visit another country.
All I need is a backpack and a pair of shoes, and I'll find a way.
That I'm able to do anything I set my mind to.
I've never felt like more things are possible than right now.
In the right shoes, anything's possible.
DSW, countless shoes at brag-worthy prices. Imagine the possibilities.
Now, back to you. Even if financial independence isn't your goal, chances are you've got at least one goal or you wouldn't still be listening to this book. I would love to save you the 40 years it took me to figure this out. I'd love to save you the wasted time and money and energy I've lost along the way and ask you to consider, what's working? In your life, your career, your relationships, what works? What flows smoothly and easily? Which parts of your world, even though they still require work and effort, do you always find new opportunities and experiences you appreciate? I think I've mentioned the Pareto principle in almost every nonfiction book I've written, but I never stop being impressed by how helpful this concept is. Vilfredo Pareto, besides having a fabulously rhymey name, was an Italian economist living in the late 1800s. He realized that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by only 20% of its citizens. Then, he realized something similar was happening in his garden. 80% of the harvest was produced by roughly 20% of his crop. When studied, this same percentage breakdown shows up again and again. 20% of your customers are responsible for 80% of your revenue. 20% of your actions are giving you 80% of your results. The goal to more success or health or improvement, or even just less discomfort, is to try to figure out which 20% is giving you the best results and focus more on that. But what if it's really just that 20% of what we do is guided by something bigger than us? What if that 20% accounts for God or spirit guides or your great Aunt Sarah working as a guardian angel or whatever, and they're opening the exact doors you're meant to walk through at the exact right time? What if some things come easy because it's the route you're supposed to take? What if some things don't work out at all because the universe is trying to tell you that he is not your Prince Charming, he's a fuckboy, and you need to move on? By paying attention to what is working in your life, and leaning more heavily in that direction, at the very least, you'll experience less tension and stress and anxiety. You'll flow more easily from one opportunity to the next. And I have a sneaking suspicion you just might experience the most success and the most contentment you ever have.
The Rachel Hollis Podcast is produced by me, Rachel Hollis. It's edited by Andrew Weller and Jack Noble.
Hey everybody, it's Rob Lowe here. If you haven't heard, I have a podcast that's called Literally with Rob Lowe. And basically it's conversations I've had that really make you feel like you're pulling up a chair at an intimate dinner between myself and people that I admire, like Aaron Sorkin or Tiffany Haddish, Demi Moore, Chris Pratt, Michael J. Fox. There are new episodes out every Thursday. So subscribe, please, and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
I've never felt like this before. It's like you just get me. I feel like my true self with you. Does that sound crazy? And it doesn't hurt that you're gorgeous. Okay, that's it. I'm taking you home with me. I mean, you can't find shoes this good just anywhere. Find a shoe for every you from brands you love, like Birkenstock, Nike, Adidas, and more at your DSW store or DSW.com.